Hi, I'm Matt from hockeyreviews.ca, and this is the Bauer Sling with the hole stick snapshot review. So I was able to shoot this, do a little bit of puck handling in my basement. Haven't been able to get it on the ice. Hopefully that comes in the future. If you want me to buy one of these outright so I can get it on the ice and do an actual on ice review and talk about all this and see if this thing really makes a difference in gameplay, please let me know in the comments. So we have two Geos here, which are obviously not what this stick is. This has the same shape. It has an ER spine, but this really is the follow-up to the Nexus ADV. The Geo was kind of the retail follow-up. This one is not $400 anymore, so this one isn't the crazy limited edition pricing, but this is kind of the follow-up to the Nexus ADV with the SlingTech 2.0. These we're going to do a little comparison on just because of the shape, the blade feel, and we'll do a comparison of the blade size. I always get max blade heights now if possible, and this one on the Sling is a normal blade height. As you can see, these are both P92s. The one with the Pride tape is a P92M. So that's the difference basically right there. If you want to support the channel and you live in the United States, check out the link in the description to Pure Hockey and Pure Goalie. Clicking that link, making a purchase, it gives me a kickback. All that money will come right back into the channel so I can making videos and making more content and possibly buying sticks like this one. Otherwise, if you want to support the channel, check out Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee. Links in the description. Everything goes through there, comes right back into the channel. So I keep doing videos like these and making more content and doing real reviews. So obviously the big thing about this stick is the SlingTech 2.0. It has been changed. I'm not going to go deep into it and talk about all the tech in it. I'm going to just summarize it really quickly and show off these really nice graphics that Bauer's put up on their website. Basically, the summary of this though is what they did is this is now smaller than it used to be. It used to be a little longer, I believe. So this way, I think it's strengthening it. I'm not positive. Again, watch the Bauer videos. Ice Warehouse has a good video where they talk about with a Bauer employee talking about why they did this. There is no carbon, I think, that way anymore. It now comes down to get more stiffness here and for better durability, evidently. They also say it's for better shot power, 15% more. I don't know. I'm not getting into that because unless you have a robot that does perfect shots every time, you can't actually prove that. I did notice a lot with this stick when using it specifically for the stick handling and a little bit for the shooting itself, but I'm going to get to that a little bit later and we're going to cover some other things in the stick as well. And just to get out of the way, yes, a stick does fit in there. They say you can tape it any way you want, so you can tape it if you want to put the tape actually through here, or you can just tape it over top like you would a normal stick. Personally, I would go the normal stick route because I wouldn't want someone else's stick getting caught in here, blade getting caught in there, like from a poke check or something, and then breaking either their stick or my stick in there. I feel like that could lead to bad things. So I would just tape it up anyways. Bauer says the actual sling portion of it isn't affected by the tape, so it doesn't matter at all. Now, the very not important thing, but the thing I'm going to talk about and get out of the way is the graphics. These are kind of a mix of the ADV line and going a little different route with the silver accents, as you can see all through it. The stick looks good, but it almost looks like a cheap road hockey version of sticks because of that gray, I feel. Bauer's done a really good job with the ADV lines with the neon and the black, making everything look really awesome. Like this, I'm pretty sure glows in the dark. If not, it's really close and it looks awesome. But then you get to here and the silver kind of looks cheap. It does look like a titanium kind of thing. Hopefully this comes off. But it does just kind of look cheap and doesn't really work that well with the neon, I think. So it's kind of disappointing, especially up here with the Sling. And the only real spot it says Sling is right here. And it's kind of hard to see. You can't really tell. It says it up here, but this will be covered by tape in your hand, so you won't really see it. So it's kind of weird in that sense. And the bottom is very plain, as you can see, so nothing crazy on here. I'm kind of disappointed they got rid of the green inside here as well. But I guess this isn't like a $400 Canadian stick. This is a $370 Canadian stick, which is in par with all the other normal retail sticks now. So it's not like that crazy. So maybe they're just holding back a little bit. Now, with that said, with the silver, does anyone remember these sticks? This is the Reebok 808, and you can see the green in there. And the previous versions of these, I can't remember exactly what they were called. Someone will correct me in the comments. This was before my time of caring about sticks. But it did have the holes, just like that has the hole. And it was lime green and silver and black. So it kind of reminds me a lot of this stick. And that's not a great thing because those sticks weren't really liked that much. Now, the weight of this stick, and I'm going to say it again and again, weight isn't that important. Balance is more important, how it actually feels in your hand. So chasing a number isn't that big of a deal. With that said, this stick comes in at 377 grams with the butt end plug in. And the reason I say that is because True said you have to take the butt end plug out to do a real weight, and no, with it out, it's 371. With it in, it's 377. So decent. It feels pretty light. It's not crazy like some of the other ADVs. It's not crazy like some other sticks on the market. All the CCM sticks are basically the same as this or better than this, and they're just normal sticks. So that's also a thing too. But I will say balance on this has felt excellent in my hand so far. It's something I'm really happy, and I think Bauer is kind of crushing right now, is the overall balance and feel of their sticks. I've had issues with the Trigger-Fi Pro in the past, and some sticks where the blade just feel too light. Even with this, where it does feel light, and I'll get to that in a little bit, it doesn't feel like it's not there. Now, without me taking this on the ice and doing poke checks and trying to do one-hand grabs with the stick, I can't really say, so hopefully I'll be able to review this in the future. But just from shooting it and from stick handling, it feels like the balance is right and is like doing the right thing. So I got to give Bauer a huge amount of credit for that. So shaft shape is kind of hard to show off on video, but it is that ER spine, and that is what was on first the Nexus ADV, and then it came to the Geo. I love this shape. It really forms nice in your hands like this when you're holding it, and it really allows like a nice grip on there. My producer now uses the Geos and loves that feeling too. So I'm a real huge fan of this kind of extra edge they add to it, and just for that different shaft shape. It feels really good in your hands. I'm glad they're continuing doing that and going forward. It's a pretty unique thing. Bravo. STX again, I want to call it out, did it before, where they added that extra edge on the bottom of the shaft, and so it gripped the bottom of your hands differently than the top of them. Great idea. This one just is a different take on it and doing something slightly different. Bauer says it helps with release and helps with durability. I can't comment on that. The stick shoots well, but the feel of it is what I really liked. Now, talking about the blade itself, I'm slightly disappointed that this isn't a max height blade and it's not an option, but I mean, I get it. It has a hole in the blade. I get why they're not doing that. But just to show, it is the same as the normal P92, which is right here. These are both the stock P92. You can see exact same size all the way through, so nothing there. And we line it up with a P92 Max, and you can see the difference right there. So you lose that a bit of space right there, but not huge, but it's still there. I'm a huge fan of the max height blades. I really do find it easier to kind of knock pucks out of the air and stuff like that. Puck feel is always subjective in terms of what you like and what you don't like. I like softer blades. Before I used to like stiffer blades and pingier blades. I felt that it translates all the vibrations to your hands better. But once I've kind of got playing more and more comfortable with my opinions and kind of how I want sticks to feel, I've learned that I love soft blade, like basically like Bauer Nexus and even the Supremes, which are super soft, like the Ultrasonic and the Geo are my two favorite sticks just because of puck feel. Both are very dampened, and when you're making hard passes or receiving hard passes, it feels very nice in your hands. I'm not going to say it feels luxurious, it just feels really nice in your hands, and it feels like you can cradle pucks a little bit easier. This is very different from that. This isn't quite fly-light pingy, but it's still pingier than what you have on the Geo. You can really hopefully hear how that is more of a muted and like dampened sound than this. And no, the tape isn't making any difference. When the tape is super thin and only a single layer with a very little overlap, it's not thick enough to really dampen any sound or any feeling like that. The easiest way for me to test blade pinginess and stuff is one, you can just grab a puck like this and do that. Or what you can do, and the easiest way, is if you have a wooden stick handling ball, that basically works right away because you really have a pinginess to them. There's like zero dampening in the wood. Same with the green biscuit, so you can notice that way too. But for comparison with the puck. So I'm gonna show a video really quickly of stick handling between these, and you'll see the different ones. I'm just gonna let it play and with the sound so you can actually hopefully hear the differences. I can definitely feel the differences in my hands, but this is kind of the best thing I'm gonna be able to show off, hopefully. So like I said, hopefully you can hear the pingyness and kind of the different feeling of the sling is pretty noticeable compared to a Geo. I'm going to cover this really quickly here. I want to do a full video of this in the future, but it's hard for me to find blades I can cut in half. What makes a stick pingy and like dampened feel is the foams they use in it. So this is a broken ultrasonic, funky shaft shape. As you can see, I found this at a rink and the blade was kind of open, so I wanted to grab it so I could see what the foams were in. So you can see these foams in there, and you can see a little carbon bridge in the middle, basically. So that just goes through the stiffness. True does a really good job of showing their BRT and where it exists in their sticks on their website. Check them out. They're awesome for that. But this dampened foam and everything is what kind of makes the puck feel the way it does. You can use a stiffer foam, you can use a softer foam or a more dense foam. And the denser the foam, the less dampening, and thus you have a pingier blade. This one is the softest blade there is besides the 2S Pro. That got a little bit pingier because it got rid of that gel insert that kind of fixed the foam cracking. This one is still a soft blade. I love the feel of it. This one definitely feels different. And you can definitely feel like where that difference is. And it's basically right here. You can feel the blade get fatter, skinnier, fatter. And when you look at the bottom of this blade, you can definitely see the size difference between the two. The normal Geo is a lot thicker all through here than what the sling is. And you can see the sling get fatter right here. That's basically where I said you can definitely feel it come out. So a lot less foam could be in here to actually do that dampening. So it feels, I haven't used one of those Tovey carbon blade sticks, but this feels like there's a lot less dampening material in here. And you can see it get fatter down here too than what these and like a normal Geo and other Bauer sticks have. So while I mentioned the middle of the blade is definitely thinner than what a normal blade is, and you can kind of see it right there, the other part to this is how much fatter the heel is. So you can see all this section right here being way fatter than the normal Bauer blade, where it feels pretty uniform all the way through here. But you can definitely take a look at the sling where it does get bigger right here, then really thin, but then massive here, especially compared to that retail one. And when you line these up, you can definitely see that is a wider boy than what that one is. And then it just tapers into the really thin in the middle. So a really interesting feature and unique feature that is on these sling blades. It's a personal preference thing. Honestly, I have to use this with passing and everything to see if I like it or not. But I will say when I was stick handling this with the heavier thing, so with the green biscuit and with the actual puck, it honestly felt like the blade was opening up on me. And not necessarily a bad thing. But sometimes when you use a stick that's too low of flex, it feels like the blade kind of opens up because the stick is flexing when you're moving it. It almost felt like that, except it never got awkward. When I was playing with this, it definitely felt like the blade was kind of flattening out this way. So I obviously won't be able to do this, but it felt like the blade was flattening out that way. So when it was moving, that like this part was kind of trailing behind and the front would go forward. I don't know if that's how it's supposed to work, but that's what it felt like in my hands. And again, I don't know if that's because of how much thicker this is or what, or how like that sling is working, because I'm thinking the sling shouldn't be doing that when you're just stick handling. It should be the shots. But it was something I noticed and it felt different to me when stick handling stuff. And I'm kind of impressed with that because I never really noticed that before. This is my first time actually touching a sling blade. I never got a chance to really shoot or stick handle with the Nexus ADV. Because the store I borrowed it from, they didn't allow people to shoot it at the time. So now with these sticks, they're now allowing people to shoot with all the sticks, including the limited edition one. So I'm allowed to shoot this now. So it does give me a little bit better idea for that. But it was really interesting in that sense of how that felt. Now, the other thing that I really noticed with this stick is the thin blade really helps with saucer passing. Now, I know people can saucer pass with any stick they have in any curve. But I noticed with this, it was so easy to do really tiny little sauce. And it felt like the blade can kind of just like get right under the puck and kind of just sauce it just a little bit. Obviously, it's a lot of that rotation of the puck itself to make the sauce happen. But this felt awesome when I was doing it in my basement. Basically, I have a nice little white mats and you'll see when I'm shooting in front of the net. So I sauce from the net after I shoot the pucks back to like my actual shooting area. And this was super easy to do and felt really good. My whole game is passing and breakouts. So me feeling that is a nice welcome thing. That's why I really want to get the stick on the ice, and hopefully I will, because that seems like it would really help with my style and everything like that. Now, the question everyone was asking and is wondering, does this help with shooting? Bauer says it makes faster release and everything. I'll say this. I brought out a radar gun and I noticed a slight intake with better shots with this, but it wasn't within a margin of error difference. And without a robot actually doing it every time, I'm not confident in saying that it does or not, because it was within a margin of error between them two. And those radar guns are so bad that it basically has to be right on point for it to get a correct reading. So I don't really trust myself with this. With that said, it definitely felt like it launched easier. It definitely felt like it had a bit more boom on the release. And it didn't feel like it had a bit more like of that kick because of the stiff blade. It felt like it was something else. It did really feel like it had something just kind of pushing it more, but it wasn't just an instant bounce. It felt like it was a snap and then fling. So kind of like this thing like they're talking about. Would I be able to tell between two sticks, like these two sticks? Absolutely, just because this feels way different shooting because of that pingier blade. Would I be able to tell if it really shoots harder or not? Maybe not, probably not. It's definitely something that like you would need empirical evidence for it, and I don't have that, and I don't have that data for it. This is a hard stick to do a blind test for because the blade does feel so much different than anything else, and it is lighter than like the other Geos. So even if you put them side by side, you're gonna know which the light one is. I'm still impressed with the shooting with it, but I was impressed with the Geo shooting too. I love that stick. It releases easy. I love using it, and this I think is just down that alley, just a slightly different blade feel, but not a bad one at all. Really hope I get to use this on the ice. I'm going to reiterate over and over and over again. The other thing I want to say about this stick is the size of the shaft itself. So basically how thick the walls are is slightly thinner than the normal Geo, but not crazy thin like the ADVs were. So I'll overlay an image right now that shows you the difference. And I'll also overlay an image that shows the ADV as well. So it's not quite on that level of like crazy thin of the ADV. So this should have a bit better durability than that, because I do know a lot of people had issues with the ADVs in that sense, but they're going for crazy weight and like kind of innovation and moving stuff forward. So I'm kind of okay with it because you know what you're getting into. Another thing I want to give Bauer huge credit for, which kind of doesn't really come off on video and it's hard to talk about, but no one does, is they're not cheapening out on the grip. The grip still feels awesome. It's a nice solid grip all the way through, just like their Geos, just like their other retail sticks, and just like Pro Stock Hockey Sticks, which is another company that does a really good grip. Unlike CCM, where they all chip like that and you can see the paint because it's so light and their grip is like thinner and thinner, they don't cheapen out on this, and grip does add a little bit of weight. So really you could take this off and get a little difference, but this grip feels awesome and is so well done. Bauer does a really good job with this, and so I gotta give him credit for that. I have like no issues on any of my Bauer sticks I use in terms of chipping like I do on the CCM ones. So again, props to Bauer. Grip feels awesome in your hands. It's something not a lot of people talk about, but to me it's really important. You watch all those NHL players and all the pros. Most of them have a textured grip, or the guys have matte and textured. None of them have this just really thin, crappy grip that like CCM and some companies have been putting on their sticks. It's all nice and it's like textured. I wish it was one more retail stuff, but at least while this one isn't textured, it at least feels really good in your hands and is solid and actually feels like it's there, unlike some of those other companies. So that's about it for the Bauer Sling snapshot review. Again, hopefully I can get a full review of this thing coming out in the future with actual ice time usage and saying how much I like it. And let's see the durability too. But I don't get these sticks for free. Like people got the hype boxes for the hyperlights and stuff like this, and I'm sure people are gonna get this. I didn't get that. I have to pay for this stuff. That's expensive. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with this going down this route. With that said, I am pretty impressed with it. I definitely want to use it and I want to buy it. Whereas the other ADVs, I thought it was impressive, but they were too like thin and too light, too expensive. That wasn't worth me really buying. This one isn't that much more expensive, so it doesn't really bother me that much. Again, let me know in the comments if you want me to buy this thing and to use it on ice and do a full review and stuff like that. It'd be greatly appreciated. And also, if you want to see me review this, reach out to Bauer and let them know. Say, hey, I want to see hockey reviews, review your sticks, because that would just make it happen right away if they sent me one. With that said, if you want to support the channel so I can keep doing actual reviews and full reviews and stuff like this, please check out the link in the description to Pure Hockey and Pure Goalie. If you're in the United States, clicking that link, making a purchase gives me a kickback. So again, I can buy more stuff to do real reviews on and not just do snapshot reviews. Otherwise, check out the links to Patreon and buy me a coffee. Everything goes through there, comes right back into the channel, so I keep making more content. It's really expensive and it's a lot of work, but I like doing it, but I can't always buy every single product that comes out. So thank you very much for watching and take it easy.
You're watching HockeyReviews.ca.